And we're back. This is John.
And it's Eric.
And it's What If Geeks. And it's just the two of us today. We're hanging out, chilling out. It is Tuesday the 28th, right? Yeah. And
sounds believable.
Sure. All my days are running together. I don't give a shit anymore. What month is it? I don't even go by day or week. This is a month. Yeah, so we're hanging out. We're going to do a Geekly Weekly for the week. And going to sit here and bullshit about a few things. Because it's kind of a slow month, a little bit.
It was a little slow, yeah. So we've got a few topics we'll cover in the Geekly Weekly here. We'll do a This Week in Geek History. There's actually a bunch of nerdy space stuff that happened this week and a few other things that probably be interesting. We're going to talk about how January is boring in movies. It's actually known in Hollywood as the dump month, where they put all the garbage movies out that aren't expected to get any awards or make any huge profits.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about it in the context of
what
a
broke
recent
the mold.
movie. Yeah, a recent movie that broke the mold, and then some other ones that had before it. And then we'll talk a little bit about Fast and Furious trailer that was dropped, or the teaser that was dropped.
Yeah, I just watched it.
What's in theaters right now, what's performing well, what's coming up soon, and what's new on streaming, because there's actually quite a few things coming up in January, I guess, because everybody's bored, because it's dumb month. And then we'll probably do it as a second episode, but we'll talk about that. Colin Trevorrow's script and the art that was leaked for Star Wars. I guess it wouldn't have been Rise of Skywalker. Duel of Fates.
The Duel of the Fates.
The script that he had written previously before he left the project in 2017, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then J.J. Abrams came on.
Yeah.
All right. So
cool.
Anyway, what are you into this week? Anything?
Jeez, no, not even really anything. Just like reading backlogs of comics that I'm trying to catch up with, like, X-Men shit and whatever. Just random. I kind of hop around all over the place on that shit. But
yeah, I've been hopping around on streaming series because nothing's really keeping my attention. But I started watching that Messiah.
How is that?
It's interesting. I mean, this guy is basically like, he's kind of like Jesus, but you don't know if what he's doing is like staged bullshit or if it's real. But obviously, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people think it's real.
Right. And
so there's like a following behind him. And he does do a handful of things in the show, probably at least one every episode, where you're like, what the fuck? No way.
Okay.
Like, they can't be. And again, you don't know if it's staged or real, but I don't want to do any spoilers, so I'll just leave it alone. But he seems to know things that are like, there's no way he could know that. Right. It's impossible. But so that's the question, though. That's the whole point of the show is he a messiah, or is he like a fraud that's, taking all these people?
Huh.
So it's kind of interesting. It's a lot of subtitles. If you hate reading subtitles, you do not want to watch the show, because they speak in Arabic, they speak in Hebrew, a whole bunch. Even the American actors in it actually speak these languages, and you got to read subtitles. So I'd say not everything, but English is still like a common language between the CIA people and the Messiah, and the Israelis and the Messiah. But the Messiah speaks all these languages too. I could call him the Messiah. We don't know if he is, but he speaks all these languages too. So it's pretty impressive.
Right.
But anyway, so there's a lot of subtitles to read. But so that, and then The Outsider has actually been pretty interesting. That Stephen King adaptation.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it.
That's actually pretty interesting. I've watched 3 episodes. That might actually be all there is so far. But it's definitely interesting. It's definitely got a little spooky, what the hell's going on kind of vibe.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it. I've got a handful of stuff that I'm meaning to either catch up on, or like, for example, I'm still not caught up all the way on season 2 of that. And I know they already announced season 3. Heather's ahead of me on that, so I got to catch up. Just random shit that we just keep trying to watch. I finally did watch I think we mentioned it before, but I watched the entire Crisis on CW Network.
Yeah, Crisis on Network.
Crisis on CW Network. It was good. They did a good job with that. In case I have not mentioned it before, I was impressed with what they did with what they had. There's the other one that I want to check out. I keep forgetting because it's going to cost me money, so I keep putting it on the back burner. But the Shudder Network. I want to subscribe to that because I guess they've got Creepshow and a couple other things on there that I want to check out. And how big into horror I am, so
yeah.
I want to check that out. So I'm thinking sometime maybe by the end of the month I'll get onto it.
Maybe one day all these streaming services will fold together. That might be a topic of discussion actually today.
The cable network.
Yeah.
Let's start it. We'll call it the What If Geeks cable network, and we'll just we'll get them all lumped together. Like I did Zombieland 2, and I did The Dead Don't Die.
Oh, Zombieland, Double Tap. Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, I liked it.
I did too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, it was a given, really, but yeah.
I kind of walked into it knowing I was going to like it. Kind of like pizza and sex. Anyway.
So, you want to do this week in geek history?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, we got a few things this week. Actually, more than a few. The first one on the list, January 31st, 1971, Apollo 14 was launched. I only bring this up because we did our moon conspiracy, moon landing conspiracy episode. I don't know when that was. It must have been September or something. In that, I had made the point, I think, that landing on the moon was far from the only landing on the moon.
Yeah.
There were 6-man missions to the moon. 24 people went there. 12 people walked on the moon. So Apollo 14 was the eighth manned mission and the third Apollo mission that actually landed people on the moon. That was January 31st, 1971. So I just thought I'd bring that up. You got a lot more than the first moon landing to debunk if you don't want to believe that.
Right.
A year later, January 27th, 1972, Magnavox released the Odyssey. That was the first ever home video game system that you'd hook up to your tube TV. It did not go that well.
I remember it, though. I mean, I don't remember that because I wasn't born yet, but I remember a few years after being born.
Well, a few years after that first one, they released, I don't remember what it was called, Odyssey 2, Odyssey Squared.
Something, yeah.
It was another one, but it started to take off a little more in the late 70s.
I just remember the name. Maybe I remember magazine articles or something about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was super simplistic, but it was the first ever commercial video game system, so I thought it's worth mentioning. 7 years later, January 26, 1979, Dukes of Hazzard premieres on CBS.
Yes, it does. One of my favorite shows. And now it can't be found anywhere except for on Redneck's DVD shelves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
Thank you, assholes who can't keep anything in context.
Well, yeah, there's definitely a lot of what are now controversial things in there, but certainly weren't back in the day, or at least no one cared enough.
Yeah, no one gave a shit.
January 28th, 1986, the Challenger exploded 73 seconds after liftoff, killed all 7 astronauts. Now, I was alive during this, but I was little. But I do remember...
I was in 6th grade.
I do remember, vaguely, what was going on, and people were all shocked about it, and, I also remember a bunch of really terrible jokes that I heard sometime after.
Yeah, like the how many astronauts can fit in the station wagon kind of thing?
Yeah, and it's really not, they're not even that funny. They're not even clever. They're just...
dark.
Yeah.
Dark.
And shocking to me as a child, probably, which is why I still remember them.
Yeah. I got a lot of those from when I was a kid. A lot of the dead baby jokes. I was just like, that is not funny. But I still laugh.
On a more somber note, it was a very sad thing. 7 astronauts died. It definitely was somewhat of a setback for the program, but we're going to get back into that one day. We'll get to the technology episode at some point. We'll talk about what's happening in the future. Space Force. All right, so moving along. February 1st.
We are 24 hours away from a Voltron. Shut up.
February 1st, 1996, Visa and MasterCard announced new security measures that made it safe to use credit cards for purchases on the internet. Now, I just thought this was funny to bring up because today...
we have no problems with using cards on the internet.
Yeah, and
it's amazing how their technology has kept us safe over the... Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
They certainly didn't. But the reason I bring this up, though, is because... when the internet launched, it wasn't necessarily a market to buy things in the beginning, right? It was more of an information exchange and then advertising a little bit for companies. But people were afraid to buy shit online. And now that's the primary way people buy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And that's definitely going to come up in one of our tech episodes.
Yeah. And it's funny.
How shit's changed from when we were a kid.
Yeah, dramatically, right? My parents were afraid to give out credit card numbers back then. They didn't want to. They were like, oh, no. They wanted to write checks for everything, and I don't even
Yeah.
No thanks. I couldn't do any of that now. You know,
Yeah.
I could do that. But you know what I mean? I don't want to do any of that now. I want the easy, show me the online.
Yep, hit it and just be done.
My credit card info is saved in my Google. Don't hack my account. No, but seriously.
Yeah, no shit.
But it's just crazy. It's just crazy to think about that. You know, less than 25 years ago, people weren't buying shit online. They were afraid to do it.
Yeah.
And there are still some people, Becca's grandparents as an example, that will not put their credit card number in on a website. And I kind of wonder now if it's even really easy to get around in daily life without being willing to do that.
Right.
You have to like write checks for your cable bill and pay your mortgage and like all this. You got to do it all by mail, and you got to send it out days ahead of time so it's not a late
Make you
payment.
laugh. My oldest kid, you know, he's in the Navy for how long now? Right, 7, 8 years. He writes checks to pay his bills. His mother is sitting here paying everything through the bank account, going, "Why aren't you just online?"
Right.
Like this is your generation. You should be like boom, boom, boom. And he's like, I don't have time to learn it. You have time to learn it.
Learn it? What?
Oh, it's funny.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
I got a bill in the last couple of weeks. It's a small little thing for like the water backflow testing or whatever. They don't have a way to pay online.
You were
mail
lost,
us
right?
a check.
Like,
and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get around to that. I'll get to that eventually. Not only do I need it, I have checks.
When's the last time I had a stamp?
You got to dig out the check. Exactly. Yeah, I need envelopes and stamps.
All right. See, I have stamps and envelopes the envelopes just because I had like a whole big fat box of them and I just never use them up, right? Because we don't pay shit like that anymore. But I have stamps because the one thing I still do that is barbaric to my wife is that didn't come out right.
The one thing you do to your wife that's
beat her with a stamp book. No, I send out actual physical Christmas cards every year.
Oh, a lot of people still do that.
But like I've got like a list of like 40 people that I send them out to, and she laughs. She's like, "Why? Why?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I mean, we do them too, but we don't typically, because now you don't have to actually print them and mail them yourself. You can go to an online service.
I know. See,
them,
I go to the dollar store
and send them to your recipients.
Yeah, see,
it doesn't hardly cost anything anymore.
I buy them and I fill them out. I don't know why either.
All right. January 26, 2010, Avatar became the highest grossing film in the world, and it was a record that it held for over 10 years until Avengers Endgame, which just barely took that title, actually. I think it was only maybe 100,000 more or something.
Yeah, it was,
and
they worked to get there too.
It was really
they
close.
came back in a couple times,
and I think Endgame had a longer in theater runtime too.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Disney was really pushing to put that one over.
Yeah, amazing accomplishment, and it's more amazing that more than 10 years later we still don't have an Avatar sequel.
Yeah, well, you're probably not going to see that for a little bit either because Disney's got that too now. So they're like, we'll take our time with it.
Oh yeah, I'm just you're surprised when something makes that much money and is that successful that they don't jump on it right away because they often
Cameron was doing it.
Away.
Yeah, Cameron was doing it, and then Disney bought out Fox and all that shit, right? So they got all the rights. But you would think that Disney would want to pursue that because they've got the whole Avatar land in Animal Kingdom. That's amazing. I mean, you walk,
it's great. Yeah,
I love that place.
Yeah, it's really cool how they did the floating rocks and all that.
Right,
shit. Really clever.
When you're going on the rides and the fucking the shaman lady with the drums and shit, you're like, what the fuck?
Oh,
the
animatronics.
Like 10 feet tall. Yeah, the animatronics
those are really
ridiculous.
Good. Yeah, that's the Navi River Journey. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you not capitalizing on this? You own it now. Now there's no reason not to do it.
Yeah,
and we haven't heard shit. Since Cameron announced he was going to do 20 of them. So, I don't know. Maybe they're letting that die down a little bit, and then they're going to come back with something. I don't know.
I guess
I haven't heard nothing on it.
Yeah. I haven't really heard much either. Last one I had on the list was January 27, 2010. And I had to go back and triple check this because I felt like it was longer.
2010, yeah, right?
Yeah, January 27, 2010, Apple unveiled the first iPad tablet. That was only, it was only 10 years ago. The first tablet.
When was the first iPhone?
Oh, the first iPhone must have been 07, 06.
Sure, right? 'Cause we're on like 7 now or 10 or what the fuck we're on now. We're on the 25 plus.
I mean, we're on 10, but there was no 9.
Right.
And was there another one they skipped? No, I think all of them were there.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so there's been like 9 of them, 9 iterations.
Yeah.
Year. Yeah, so that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just seems like longer, right?
It seems like it's been around for longer. I feel like tablets are not that new of a thing.
Thank you, Apple. You just feel like you've been around for fucking ever. Okay, June 29th, 2007 was the first
I got
iPhone.
the year right the first try. Holy shit.
Yeah, nice. 2007.
All right, so jumping out of geek history then.
Getting into the dump. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike, guess what day it is? Dump day! Don't laugh at that. That was fucking stupid.
January is supposed to be the dump month for Hollywood. So any movies they have that they think are not going to get any awards or are not going to be terribly profitable in the box office, they tend to release those in January. And for the most part, the rule holds true, I guess. Movies that are released in January generally don't perform that well. Bad Boys for Life was, of course, a January release, and it has done really, really, really well, even though
Another one of those that I want to see. And
I want to see, too. But I made fun of it because I didn't think it was going to do that well. Like
we
really?
might have to go see it
Did
together.
we need another one of these?
And maybe me, you, Paul, Ray.
And then we find out, not only did the third one do really well, but they're already working on the script for the fourth one.
Which brings to mind, I think I already said this in the last podcast, you named this one Bad Boys for Life. Why wouldn't you name the fourth one
Bad
Boys for Life?
Yeah.
You know, and name this something else. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it now that it's got really good reviews. I was worried about it a little bit. But also, I was going to watch it regardless because I like the first two.
Yeah.
So
I would watch it regardless. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily watch it in the theaters, though.
Yeah. But now I kind of want to, just because I want to catch it now while it's hot.
Yeah.
Side note, we haven't done like a good movie review since Rise of Skywalker, so we're going to have to get on like one a month somehow.
Well, yeah, that's why I put that list together for us. We'll figure it out. So anyway, we wanted to go over other movies that have done well over the years, and some of these are 30 years old, but the one we're going to start with is 30 years old. But in some regard, the movie, most of these, the studio thought these weren't going to do that well, and several of them ended up being cult classics. Not necessarily good movies, but cult classics. So, anyway, let's get started.
So I'm just looking at the front of this list, and
Yeah.
when you said 30 years old, I'm like, no, it's not. And then I'm looking at you've got the year,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, and yes, it is.
Yep.
You're just old. Got it.
Yep. So let's talk about the gems of the dump month. So first one I got on my list was January 19th, 1990, Tremors.
Now, which you can find on Netflix now. Yeah.
Yes.
You can find like almost all of them on Netflix right now.
I don't know which ones are on there, but definitely
There's a bunch
first
of them.
one
I
is
saw
on there.
3. I started watching 3 the other night just
Yep.
to kind of.
And it's probably worth mentioning for the majority of these movies we're going to talk about, you can watch them for free. Well, if you have a streaming subscription to the right place.
So not for free.
They are
available to you.
Available without purchasing it separately.
Yeah.
Most of these are anyway. So yeah, Tremors. So that became a cult classic. I think they're on the 5th.
Kevin Bacon, Michael Gross.
Yeah.
Let's see. They did the first couple. One of them was like they kind of went back in time, and one of the guys just happened to look just like Michael Gross's Bert character.
Yeah, that's right.
It was in the Old West.
Because it wasn't him, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, it was him, but it was just like kind of similar to the like Back to the Future. Your great grandfather looks exactly like you, whatever that kind of shit they were doing. Yeah, they're fun. I like them. I really liked the first one. It was really cool. Just about they're called the graboids. They're called graboids. The things would come under the ground. They were basically blind.
Yep.
They come under the ground because they react to sound. You make any kind of sound on the ground, and they come running over.
Yep.
And they come burrowing up like a groundhog, pop up and eat the shit out of you.
There are apparently 6, not 5, 6. There are 6 Tremors movies. The last one was released in 2018. I don't think I saw that one.
I don't think I did, but that's the one with the ice, right?
Yeah, it's called A Cold Day. Tremors: A Cold Day in Hell.
Yeah. I think that was on Netflix as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was direct to Netflix.
I think it was.
All right, so next one on the list. We actually talked about this last week, so we don't have to harp on it too much. But January of '96, Quentin Tarantino's From Dusk Till Dawn. And who the hell directed that one? Rodriguez?
Yeah, Rodriguez, I think.
What the hell's his full name? I can't remember.
Robert Rodriguez.
Robert Rodriguez. Margaret
Robot.
Yeah, so From Dusk Till Dawn. We talked about this last week, so we don't need to harp on it. But I mean, what a great
really
movie.
great movie.
Yeah, because the first time you watch through it anyway, you have no idea what the fuck's coming. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. If nobody tells you it's got vampires in it, you're like, what the fuck just happened? If somebody tells you, hey, check out this vampire movie, you're 3/4 of the way in the movie going, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, where are the vampires?
And then it all just like blows up in your face and you're like, this is the best thing ever.
It's really good.
It's fucking amazing.
And so it is available on Hulu and Showtime on demand if you have Showtime. So you can go watch those. January of 2008, fast forwarding quite a bit.
One of my favorite movies.
So that was Abrams and Matt Reeves. They did like a found footage kind of
monster
setup
movie,
for this. Yeah,
a kaiju movie.
Yeah.
From the time I saw the first poster, which was the Statue of Liberty's head laying in the street with the claw marks, and then you can see like the Statue of Liberty in the background smoking, I was like, I have to see this fucking movie. I guess it hit around a time where some people were getting tired of the found footage shit. And I get that. But even to this day, if you give me a well-made found footage movie, I'm all in. I like the genre.
I mean, it's
like
Abrams
that
and Matt Reeves. I mean, come on.
It was perfect.
It was probably... I didn't think it was bad for a found footage. I didn't actually like Blair Witch Project very much.
Yeah, me either. It was all right. I just,
Some of them are really shitty. And they're just like...
Some of them are really bad.
I mean,
ones that do it really well, like this one, Paranormal Activity, even Paranormal Entity, which was like a cheap knockoff. Which is funny because one of the podcasts I listened to swore up and down that Paranormal Activity was a knockoff of Paranormal Entity. And all you had to do is look up the release dates of the two of them, and you're like, did you do any homework at all before you opened your mouth? But no, this girl didn't. Okay, anyway, I digress again.
January of 2009, the following year, Taken. And
you will believe an old man can beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the line he says in that, about having special skills that you acquire over the years.
I don't have any money. I don't know who you are. I don't have any money. But I do have a certain set of skills. Yeah. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Yeah, basically.
If you release my daughter, nothing else will come of it. If you don't, I will find you and I will kill you.
So that spawned a franchise, but also a genre of movies because the dad vengeance sort of.
Yes. It was this older man in a ridiculous action movie situation against an army kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it became that. There was a whole bunch of them that came out, like you said. And to the point where it got tiresome until John Wick.
Yeah, yeah.
And then John Wick, because of the lore that was built into it.
Yeah,
was
and
really cool.
I was going to bring that up too. It's like,
and then Rambo.
John Wick is an extension off that franchise. I know it's not. It's a dog that gets killed that sort of spoils the whole thing. But it's the same sort of like, okay, you want to fuck with me, motherfuckers? Yeah. I will take your whole world out.
Yeah.
January of 2010, The Book of Eli. Did you see that? Denzel Washington.
I did because I wanted to watch that one because I really like Denzel Washington. I love Mila Kunis. I mean, duh. And then when I first saw the trailer, it looked like it was just this post-apocalyptic movie.
Yeah,
and I was
like, it had a Mad Max feel to it.
Yeah, and I love those. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch this. Spoiler alert for a movie that's what, 10 years old now. I mean, when you realize that he's carrying around a Bible, and the style of the Bible that he's carrying around, you're like, shut the fuck up. So it had that Shyamalan type of twist at the end of the movie that you're like, oh shit, it was really good.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see that twist coming, and then as soon as I saw it, I immediately wanted to rewatch the movie.
Yes,
I'd be like, there's no way that's possible. Like, they fucked up somewhere. But I've seen it. I must have seen it 5 times since then. And
it fits.
It fits. Yeah, it does.
I mean, there is definitely something a little bit otherworldly about what happens throughout the thing when you realize, basically, like a level of protection kind of thing. There's a type of a level of protection on there, but it's good. It's really good. And you got what? January 14th, 2011. Green Hornet.
Yeah, and that ended up being, I think it still stands as the 3rd highest grossing movie ever in January, released in January.
Here's the thing. Have you seen it?
No, I actually haven't seen it.
It's not horrible.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen plays Green Hornet. And right there, you would have had me at like, come on now. But then I think it's Jet Li plays Kato. Mm-hmm. And it knows what it is, right? It's definitely like Seth Rogen being Seth Rogen. Like, he wants to do something to help people, and he wants to be a hero. And he kind of sort of like, basically, he just knows he knows he can take a punch. Really, is about all he knows going into this thing. And he becomes a Green Hornet, and it's because he's got some money and whatever. You got to watch it. It's worth it to watch it. The take that he did on it was really good.
Well, lucky for me, it is available for streaming on Hulu, so I will probably watch it this week.
Sweet.
Next one I had was January 2015. That's Taken 3. I don't know why they didn't do Taken 2. Taken 2 was released, I think, in November of 2013.
They're probably just playing around.
Yeah, I don't know. But they weren't released until in January. Now, that's not to say that Taken 3 was a super good movie or anything, but I only bring it up because it holds the number 4 spot for highest grossing January movies. It made $81 million.
Wow.
Which is surprising for a threequel.
Yeah.
And then more surprising given that it's released in January when movies are supposed to
that's weird.
Poorly.
Yeah. So now the next one you got on your list, you're missing a digit here, but I'm going to take a stab at it. I think it was January 20th, 2017?
I think 17 is right.
2017 until you correct me.
I will look it up.
It's M. Night Shyamalan's Split.
Yep. So that was the sequel to Unbreakable.
You didn't know
that.
But
nobody knew that
you didn't know
until after the fact.
Yeah. In and of itself, this movie, and seriously, resting...
2017.
Yeah, bam, nailed that one. Resting solely on the shoulders of James McAvoy and Anya Joy, whatever the hell her name was. I'm sorry. Taylor Anya Joy, the girl that was in the movie. The two of them, but mostly James.
Yeah.
Right? Mostly McAvoy. This guy is out of his mind, literally. But the level of acting that he puts in this movie is like ridiculous. The differences in the different personalities was amazing. Taylor Anya Joy? Taylor something?
It's Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya, I'm a little dyslexic.
Any order you like. It's fine.
Yeah, whatever. Joy Anya Taylor. Yeah, so that one. Listen, Margie Robo.
Mm-hmm.
At least I got the 3 names right.
That's true.
Yeah, she did a really good job with this. I just overall I love this movie. And then when you find out the twist at the end that it is actually a sequel to Unbreakable. Sorry, spoiler alert. But considering they did Glass, I mean,
yeah,
you know this by now. And it was such a subtle little twist at the end, just like the little diner scene that you're like, what the fuck, really? It was epic. But yeah, the Beast goes down to me as probably one of the best villains in a quote-unquote superhero movie in the last few years.
Well, in general, the way that M. Night Shyamalan did that whole trilogy, well, the first 2 anyway. I actually haven't seen Glass yet. I'm waiting for Becca to catch up and watch Split. Because she really likes Samuel L. Jackson, so...
Okay, yeah.
Not that he's not even in the second one, is he?
No.
Yeah, no. He's not even in there. But he's in Glass. But anyway, I've been waiting, so I haven't watched Glass yet. But the first 2 at least, the way that he does this, it's really a unique way to do a superhero sort of movie thing, right? You don't even know that's what's happening in the first movie at all.
No.
It seems like a slow-moving drama or something.
Yeah, it's just as you learn something's different about these people, you're like, oh shit, okay.
It's really not until you get to the weightlifting scene, probably, where you're like, okay, there's something going on with this dude.
Yeah. Glass, I saw it. I enjoyed it. Since you haven't seen it and you're waiting to see it, I'll leave it there, and then we can talk about it when you see it. But I enjoyed it. It bears discussing. Later.
Yeah, all right. We'll get to it. And the last one I had was the reason for this list, which is Bad Boys for Life. So,
woo!
I think I have it later in the outline, but this.
Oh, did I woo prematurely? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So this would be, I think it's going to be, it already is, the highest grossing movie released in January ever. I think it's 228 million at this point, something along those lines.
Yeah,
I definitely have it later in the script, so we'll get to it later. But on top of that, though, it's the first movie to make the amount of money it did inside the month of January. You think like, what the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't even make sense. But you think about Rise of Skywalker was released on December 20th, right?
Right.
It made 378 million, something along those lines, in the month of December.
Right.
Then in the month of January,
it made a shit ton more. Yeah.
It made more, a lot more, but it made less than this movie has so far in January.
It's crazy,
right? And they're not even on the same playing field as far as total gross,
fandom,
but and fandom, sure. yeah, following, but. In the month of January, this thing has blown up. And maybe that's just because there's not a lot of movies to watch in January, or because everybody dumps their shit movies in January and this one's good. But it's crazy.
Yeah, because I've gotten a lot. I mean, a lot. My buddy Daniel, I've told you before, he listens to the podcast. So what's up, Daniel? He told me, he was the first one to tell me, dude, Bad Boys, go see it. He's like, you're going to like it a lot.
Yeah.
And then I kept hearing, if you liked the first two, you're going to love this one. If you didn't like the first two, whatever, you can skip it. It's not, it's just not your thing. That's all. But it's definitely there for the people that liked it. And like I said, I really liked the first two. So I think I'm going to love this one. I'm thinking, because I did worry about it again, because when you get to any sequel, for me, one, if you get a sequel, you're like, ugh, are you going to go to the well again? Two, when you go to a sequel,
yeah, exactly.
How many fucking years later?
Uh-huh.
Over a decade later?
Yeah.
17 years, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
when the early 2000s.
Yeah. This is a god-awful long time, Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2 was 03, so yes.
Yeah, 17 fucking years later. I nailed that one too. I heard it in another podcast somewhere. It's just sitting in my head. 17 years later, you get me really nervous, right? But I'm thinking they pulled a Deadpool, where like they know they have a good movie and they're gonna drop it where nothing's gonna fuck with it and just let it build, and it did.
Yeah,
so I'm happy for them.
Yeah, given what January is normally used as a dumping ground, maybe that was a smart strategy.
Gemini Man.
Yeah,
sorry.
Fucking Gemini Man is right.
Yeah, was that January? Yeah, it was early January, right? Or was that late December? No, early January.
Oh, it was a flop. That's what the fuck
yeah, that's what it was. It was a dead Magikarp laying on the ground.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember when it was released.
So yeah, it doesn't matter. It's garbage.
Either way, though, yeah.
And there's two Will Smiths.
but
double the woo.
The interaction between every once in a while you get two actors that are like incredibly good together, right?
And it's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are among them. I also always think of Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which they haven't even been in that many movies together, but they just feel like they go together so well.
Yeah. Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Yeah, there you go.
There's an old reference for you. Grumpy old man.
Grumpy old man. That was actually, I didn't put it on the list, but I think that was actually a January movie.
See, that's going way, way back. There were two of those, and
let's see if I know what I'm talking
They
about.
never got a chance to make the third
December 25th.
So close.
1993.
Christmas. It was a Christmas movie. But yeah, it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I got a lot. So anyway.
Especially with the really old guy. What the hell is his name? I don't remember.
Burgess Meredith.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey and Rocky, the Penguin and
yes,
Batman.
Yes.
Yeah, he played Jack Lemmon's dad, Pop.
Yeah, and he had some really funny scenes.
Oh my god!
And they let him
the outtakes.
Yeah, because they let him free flow in that.
Yeah,
and just say what he wanted to say a whole bunch. Yeah. Like playing a little game of hide the salami.
Yeah, I want to play find the cannoli. Oh, and he's like, "Where are you from? Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii. What island? Come on, I want to lay you." That motherfucker was great. All right, so anyway, on to trailers and the like.
Yes, trailers and things. Let's see. Fast and Furious 9, they released a teaser trailer. I think it was yesterday. Maybe
Yeah, thank God you told me about it. Yes, because it says trailer coming Friday. So
so they're going to release a full trailer on Friday, which is going to be...
By the time you hear this, it should be in about a day and a half, 2 days.
They're going to release a full 2.5 minute trailer on Friday.
Yep.
And up to that, they've been releasing these little teasers. So we got a second teaser today.
Because I didn't see the first one. Shit. Okay.
Well, you can probably say more than I can about it because I stopped following the Fast and Furious franchise. But I know there's supposed to be something significant in that teaser, particularly with...
All he knows is Dom Toretto, Letty, cars, and family. That's all he knows. And Corona. There's a coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Letty gives...
She's hot.
She is.
She is.
Letty gives to their son, I guess.
Yeah, this is Dominic's son, Brian. So basically the trailer walks through Dominic kind of doing a voiceover about how he used to live and how he can't live his life a quarter mile at a time anymore, blah, 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 because they're showing clips of him with his son working on a car, and he's teaching his son how to work on a car. For those of you who saw the last one, at the end, he introduces his son to everybody and names him after Brian. Brian O'Connor, the other guy. So they talk for a little while, blah, 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 whatever, and then it's a very quick teaser. They do the work on the car, whatever. He's teaching his son, and then he's getting ready for bed, and she comes in and tells him, I want to give you something to Brian. She says, little Brian, I want to give you something your dad gave me. She gives him the crucifix from around her neck. Says to protect you from what's about to happen.
Yeah, from what's coming. Some shit like that.
So very ominous.
Yeah.
And then it says trailer this Friday. And the first thing I said was maybe they're protecting him from the trailer. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But so who knows? Again, it's going to have something to do with probably somebody coming back from the past or whatever. I've heard rumor that Charlize Theron is going to be back in this one, but only she's going to work with them, which they have a history doing that shit too. Bringing back villains from previous ones and making them part of the heroes. So, who knows? Again, I'm all into them just because it's one of those shut your brain off and just shove popcorn in your face and watch a movie. And I like them. So they're fun. As much as I love to make fun of them because it's Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is one of those actors that I love to make fun of because I don't know if maybe it's because him as a person is just a little bit too full of himself. Not quite like Steven Seagal full of himself or Tom Cruise full of themselves, but almost like he is he's Vin Diesel, so he's the star. And that was like what you heard about between him and The Rock. I think that's what that was. Where basically Diesel was like, this is his franchise, which it is. But, I guess he got his ego a little bit hurt because The Rock came in or some shit like that. I don't know. That's what I heard or what it seemed like going into it. So I like to make fun of him a little bit, but I love the guy. I love a lot of the shit he's in. So I ain't going to lie and say I'm not going to watch this. I'm totally going to watch this movie. I love this fucking movie. It's the first time I ever saw Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot.
Well, you don't have too much longer to wait because May 22nd is when it comes to theaters.
That's right. I guess I know what I'm doing Memorial Day weekend, huh? That would be like the weekend before that. Sure.
If that's what you want to do with your time, John.
Whatever. We know you ain't going to go watch it. I'll go watch it. I'll review it, you fucker. No, we're over here talking and your wife's over here posting in our neighborhood on Facebook.
Oh.
You're in trouble.
Me?
I'm kidding.
All right. So what else do I have? Mountain Dew put out. Yeah, this isn't really a trailer, but it's worth talking about anyway. So The Super Bowl is coming up, of course. Companies always do crazy, outlandish Super Bowl commercials. It's part of the fun of Super Bowl, right? And we should probably keep track of them this year and talk about.
We should, yeah. That's what we should have done today. Was like talk about ones from the past. We'll just do it next Tuesday.
Yeah,
we'll make it separate.
We'll talk about old ones and we'll talk about the ones that
just happened. Yeah. As we gas out your house from the chili cook-off.
Yeah.
Whew. You're a glutton for punishment, dude. And so Eric is hosting a chili cook-off for our neighborhood on Super Bowl Sunday, which means 3 or 4 pots of chili and a bunch of beer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll make some cauliflower or something just to add to it. Asparagus.
Fucking living room is just gonna fucking explode.
We'll just leave the back door open. We'll be fine. Mountain Dew released a commercial for their Mountain Dew Zero, and it's a short. I think what they're going to do is they've just got this 25 second spot or whatever that they put out now, and you can watch it on YouTube. I think I sent you a link. Oh, yeah, I put the link in the thing. But they're going to do a longer one for the actual Super Bowl. But they've recreated The Shining in this Mountain Dew commercial, and so Bryan Cranston is playing Jack. And then, what the hell's her name? Tracy Ellis Ross is playing, I guess, the wife. It's not like they're really echoing that.
Shelley Duvall, yeah, whatever.
It's not like they're really echoing her per se. But so, what you see in this little short is that he's obviously in the hotel. They've kind of recreated all that. He's carrying around an axe, but he has an obsession with Mountain Dew. And he gets up to the bathroom where Tracy Ellis Ross is inside, and he starts hacking the door down. And then he busts his face through the door, but instead of saying what you think he's going to say, he pulls out the Mountain Dew and he says some shit like, "Are you thirsty?" And then she stops all of a sudden like, "Oh yeah, I am thirsty." Start drinking. So we'll see if they do a longer one for the Super Bowl. I think they will recreate some more scenes, but I just thought it was interesting that they used The Shining. I'm not even sure why they picked that.
It'd be fun if they pick different scenes of the movie and throughout the Super Bowl. You've seen those where they do a commercial, and we'll touch on this next Tuesday, where one company will take a commercial and like do a really long commercial throughout the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and you'll
get there's a bunch of different segments that
throughout the Super Bowl that you get together. Yeah, that would be good.
So I don't know why they picked The Shining. I mean, it's a pretty old movie that's applying to me anyway. That's appealing to a weird crowd for Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I don't know.
You drink a lot of Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't touch the stuff.
See?
All right.
Oh, that line they give you about it, like, killing off your kid-making abilities? That's bullshit.
Things you thought you were true?
yeah, exactly.
The Batman officially started day one production yesterday. Matt Reeves tweeted about it. He had a little post with the clapper thing.
The clapper thing?
The whole thing's called.
Did you notice what it was sitting on?
Oh, actually, it didn't.
A leather chair.
Oh.
So people started tweeting, is this Batman's chair? Is it the Penguin's chair? Or is it Bruce Wayne? Is this in Wayne Manor? Is this the Penguin's chair? What was somebody said? Wait, the chair is brown. Does that mean Clayface is in this? Is the chair Clayface? This is going nuts with it. Funny as shit. But yeah.
There have been a lot of announcements of famous and pseudo-famous actors picking up roles in this franchise, but we don't necessarily know it's this movie. Now, of course, this movie is supposed to take place in Arkham Asylum, right? So you expect that you would at least see several different characters, even if they don't have a major plot line within the movie itself.
Yeah.
Maybe they come in the second one or the
I think it's going
to
be kind of like a la what they were doing with Harvey Dent and Billy D. Williams in the first 89 Batman with Michael Keaton. And then it never became a thing. He suddenly became Tommy Lee Jones. Here's my thing with this. We started off when, God, I think Paul and I talked about this before you even got on the fucking podcast. I was not excited about this at all. I was like, or they announced Affleck was out and we were discussing yes, it was before you got here because we discussed who we would cast in a Batman movie, blah, blah, blah. Because there was an ongoing joke between the two of us that if he dies, suddenly I have to go clear out his Google search because there's nothing but shirtless men. Because he was looking for guys who were in shape. So he was like, you need to go wipe my computer. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, it's going to look really weird to Gail. I got it. So we talked about it, and then we mentioned that Robert Pattinson was in discussions, and in favorable discussions at that time, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that certainly
you know what?
was the last thing I expected.
Then I was like, because there was so many actors that I wanted to see take this on, right?
Mm.
We were talking, like, he sold me on Zac Efron. I was like, oh, that would be cool. So we both had Efron. Like, that should be it. But then I started hearing other podcasts talking about all this other work that Pattinson had done.
Yeah, well, that's the story, right? You need to go back and watch his other movies.
And I still haven't yet. I told myself I would. I still haven't yet. But here's the thing. Even without doing that, without seeing anything from the dude, just the closer you get to whenever this fucking thing is coming out in 2021, the little bits of trickling here and there, who's announced for whatever, I'm actually getting ramped up for this. I want to see this movie.
Well, I guess that's
praying as
marketing.
I do everything else. Yeah, I'm praying it succeeds like I do with everything else, but a little bit more for this one. I'm hoping they found their guy in Robert Pattinson. I think they did. I'm sure there's something he did that really sold them on it. I'm eventually going to sit down and watch something he did other than Twilight. I will never stop posting my little Lego Batman meme where he's in the glitter suit because I think that's funny. That's going on our meme page.
All right, put it up. Put it up.
Twilight Batman. Bam. Because I think that's just great. So that was my first reaction when I saw Pattinson announced. I said that to Paul. I was like, "Here's Batman." Oh my god, he's in a glitter suit.
Nice.
Yeah, so
it's
I think it's gonna be good.
June 25th, 2021. That'll be in theaters. So we are a ways away. A year and a half. Yeah.
Okay.
Considerable amount of production time, actually. So
plenty of time for me to watch 2 movies to try to turn me around on Pattinson.
Into the box office, and I'll blow through this one quick. Rise of Skywalker broke 500 million domestic, but it's going really, really, really slow at this point. It's only playing in about half as many theaters as when it started. Last week they only made about 5 million. So at this point, it's pretty much done. It's about 1.07 billion in the worldwide numbers, but it's not going to jump much more than that. Might make 1.1 billion before it leaves theater, but that's probably it.
So now, essentially, do you think Disney's disappointed? What do you think?
Well, considering, if you look at the budget alone, you would say, oh, well, fuck, this movie blew it out of the water. But you have to remember that the marketing side of this, and we don't know what they spent, but the marketing side of this was way more than any of the 2 previous movies, for sure.
Yeah, they were trying to get people on board with this thing.
I don't even remember what the number was in the end. 32 TV spots for this thing.
It was fucking crazy.
There was like 7 trailers.
They were begging you to come see this.
So they could have easily spent, 500 million on advertising. I don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? And again, look, it was a good movie. It wasn't epic like I thought it was going to be. Not this one, but I thought this trilogy was going to be.
Yeah.
Right? But it was a good movie, and it did solve a lot of my issues with the trilogy. So I don't know, but me personally, I think if I'm Disney, I think they're looking at this as, even though it made $1 billion, they're still looking at it like, fuck, we fucked something up here, and they got to go back and figure out what they fucked up.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, even with the movie, even if you look at the movie numbers alone, and you knew what the budget, we know what the budget is for production, but you also knew what the marketing budget was, which nobody knows really. But even if you knew those numbers and you look at it and say, oh, well, they only made $100 million or whatever,
right.
They probably are disappointed. But one thing that Disney has always capitalized on, and it goes well beyond movies, is the merchandising.
Yes.
And at least in that respect, I know toy sales in general are down. I mean, that's across the board. It doesn't matter what movie it's part of or what franchise. That's just been a thing that's been happening. But, kids are more into technology and stuff, I guess. Yeah. But in any case, they still make hundreds of millions off of the merchandising.
Sure, yeah.
So, is it really going to be a flop for them? No. they're treating Star Wars like an actual franchise. They built Batuu. It's its own world at Disney,
and it's amazing.
Disney World and Disney. So they're not focusing on single movies. And we know, well, we don't know. We've heard there's like 6 different movies that are potentially, in the script writing or production phases at this point. And a
couple of different series that we'll get into.
And spin-offs. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on. The Grudge reboot. It's doing terrible. It has terrible reviews. It's not made much money at all. I read a review today that was something along the lines of, you made a franchise that was already deader. So I haven't seen it. I was thinking I might go see it, but now I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait till it comes out.
When I first saw the ad for the trailer, I said, why? Then I watched the trailer, and I said, maybe. Now I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll watch it when it comes out to streaming or something. Yeah. I don't know. Underwater, which came out on January 10th, it actually has decent reviews, believe it or not.
Oh,
they're not
girl,
great,
right?
but yeah, that's your girl. Yep. They're not great, but they're not terrible. I mean, this is like an underwater horror sort of flick, something like maybe Abyss, but with a little more horror elements to it. In the box office, I think it's done terribly. The numbers seem abysmal. They had a 7 million opening weekend, which is awful. They were at 33 million on day 17, but the reason I say that seems so awful is because they spent 80 million budget on this movie.
Right.
And to be halfway through the screening time and you haven't even made half of that back, oh fuck. Like, man, I don't know what that's going to do for Kristen Stewart. That's 2 in a row. That's 2 badly performing movies in a row, because you had the Charlie's Angels reboot and then Underwater.
Yeah. I don't
want to see a movie can wreck a career, but a couple of movies that do really terrible.
For someone who's already made fun of all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for her.
I don't know, man.
We'll see.
Yeah. Bad Boys for Life. We already talked about this earlier, but it made $25 million this past weekend. It's now at $120 million domestic. I think that's close to, if not the most ever made in January. And it's at $215 worldwide. And then coming up real soon, January 31st, that's Friday, right?
Yeah.
The Hansel and Gretel horror.
Gretel and Hansel.
Yeah, it's called Gretel and Hansel. But
I know. 'Cause I remember when you first said it, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You're like, because it's a different take. Like, okay.
Yeah, so this is like going to be like a horror take on Hansel and Gretel. It's going to deal with cannibalism.
As opposed to the true story, or the actual original story of 2 kids getting almost eaten by a witch. That's
the
not
same concept here,
at all.
but I think the witch is some sort of cannibal in the woods, and it's going to be a little more freakier. I don't know. But anyway, that's out on Friday.
It's a fucking story. God.
And then
she's going to cook and eat the kids. How is that not a cannibal? All right, good.
Yeah, but I mean, in the story, it's
no, but more cannibal. Yeah,
well, because it's like a kid's story, right? She's just like a mythical creature, right? She's the bad witch or whatever, and a house could drop on her and she'd melt or something, right? But this is going to be more like it's a real person.
I like how you lumped in 5 different ways to kill a witch in one shot.
Yeah, but this is going to be more like it's an actual fucked up ass bad person who's got like crazy shit going on in their head, and they want to eat some
really
fucking people. I think that's how they're doing it.
Oh,
to make it more like that's a real person that's kind of doing that shit. And then last but not least, Birds of Prey is next Friday, February 7th, which we're going to have to go see, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see. So that's 2 I want to see: Bad Boys for Life and Birds of Prey. There was something we were supposed to take Noah to go see. I forget what. Like about a week ago, we were talking about going to the movies, and then we didn't. And now
Frozen 2?
No, we saw that one. I forget. But my wife wants to go see The Gentleman.
Yeah, that's actually... I didn't put that on the list, but it's actually been doing really well.
Yeah, that's at, what do you call it? The McConaughey? Never, right? Yeah. It looked good. So, yeah, I kind of want to go see it.
I would go see it. Yeah, so last thing for this week was what's new on streaming, and this isn't really new per se. This is old movies worth watching that are dropping on streaming services for the most part. But before we get into that, I got one news related thing. Netflix and Apple are apparently both looking at buying MGM Studios. This is part of the streaming wars, and they want their content for the streaming libraries, exclusive exclusive access to the content for streaming libraries. And this is going to spawn a whole nother conversation. It's going to make this episode take forever. Whoever bought them, if somebody bought them, it would give them eventually, after the contracts expire that are already out there, exclusive rights to all the James Bond movies, the whole franchise, all the Mad Max stuff, Rocky, RoboCop, Poltergeist, and then on the new front, at least moneymaker wise, Handmaid's Tale, which has been a boon for Hulu.
Yeah.
Whoever bought them would then have theoretically would have exclusive rights to it as soon as Hulu's contract run out. And I don't know what Hulu's contract says. I imagine it's only for the current season. That could,
I would think.
But so what I wanted to talk about with this though is it's funny how much things have changed, right? Because this is a movie studio that's been around since, I don't know, it's got to be 90 years at this point,
right?
Because they did silent black and white movies in the beginning. I mean, a long time, right? And they're worth billions. They had a bankruptcy. That must have been like maybe 2007 or something. They were looking at bankruptcy because they had like 3.7 billion in debt at that point. But anyway, they fixed all that up. And so what we're looking at now, though, is funny to me because you have a streaming service, right? They're a delivery mechanism, right? They're putting the videos to the subscribers, right? Just like a cable company does. And back in the day, that was all those people ever did. It was all bifurcated, right? Or it was all separated and you had different layers. But now you have a company like Netflix. They're delivering to the subscriber. They're paying to produce their own content, Netflix originals. And theoretically now they could be buying a movie studio and then have their own old IP of like nostalgic movies and stuff, right?
Right.
And so at that point, one company has like flattened the whole industry. They got everything from, old school movies they own to production studios where they're making new shit to distribution, which they don't even distribute because they make the movies and then they put it on their platform. There is no distribution partner in that really. And then they're going to deliver it to you as the user.
And everybody was worried when Disney was buying out Fox. See?
Yeah.
See, this shit's going back and forth.
So, it's really, it'll be interesting to see. We call these the streaming wars because there's a bunch of streaming platforms, but really it's a shift. It's
more than streaming.
Yeah, it's a shift in how content goes from a creator to the eyes of the viewer, right?
Yeah.
They're completely disturbing that whole industry.
Yep.
They're cutting people out that have been involved for years for money reasons, mostly, right? The reason you used to have a production studio and then you'd have a separate standalone company that would be responsible for certain parts of the production. This was all for money reasons, right? Because one company couldn't hold the liability for making $100 million movie and then doing all the marketing and producing and distribution and lose money on all of it.
Right.
So you have all these partners in the middle that are paying for different parts of it and doing different pieces, and they make some money off it if it's successful, and if they don't, they lose it, right? But you're not the one guy losing everything. Now Netflix is going to put themselves in a position where they will be the one losing everything. If they make a bad production, not that it matters because they're worth billions. But
I had heard people debating, speculating, I guess is a better word for it, about right around the time Disney was buying out Fox. They were speculating on how much money Netflix was losing at that time. And now they're buying out MGM too. So was the speculation wrong? You know what I mean?
Well, all I can say is they have 150 million subscribers. They're one of the few streaming services that puts their numbers out there. 150 million subscribers. They're making anywhere from, I don't know what the low tier is, $7 or $8 up to $15 a month.
I think I'd
right?
pay 10-ish.
Let's just call it 10. Let's just call it 10 on average. 150 million subscribers.
I know I pay more for them than I do for Disney Plus, but I buy both because duh.
So that's 1.5 billion a month in subscription fees.
Yeah,
I mean, they can't be hurting that bad.
Well, that's what I would think too.
I mean, they're spending huge amounts of money on these original productions.
I'm just going off of something I heard.
Yeah. No, I hear
But it
you.
was multiple sources talking about it. So I was like, well, I didn't... It wasn't something that I was actively looking into. So I was like, all right, maybe. I don't know. But I couldn't see why.
I don't know. I mean, certainly their model's a long game, because if you spend $50 million to produce original content, but you can't up your monthly subscription just for that. You know what I mean? I mean, you may be able to up it $1 or $2 every few years, whatever you're going to do, but it will take you a long time to actually make the money back you blew on production of an original. And I get that piece of it, but they're making a huge amount of money every month, revenue anyway.
I had never really even thought about crunching the numbers until you did in 30 seconds. Thanks. But I don't see how they're losing money. I don't think they're going away anytime soon. Obviously, if they're talking about buying MGM,
well,
that'd be cool.
Netflix is still the largest streaming service there is. There's nobody bigger than that.
Yeah, Disney Plus isn't going to touch them for at least a decade.
Yeah, it'll take a long time, and I would be surprised if they even did touch them, to be honest, because Disney is more of a niche market than Netflix is, who has a little bit of everything.
It is, and there is some credence to the argument of having multiple sources or multiple, not having a monopoly, right? Yeah. Having multiple avenues that you can get your shit from. So you don't want to have one just dominating everything. So I think the two of them doing it together or against each other, it builds the competition builds something better,
I agree.
Speaking.
All right, so okay, so what's new on streaming? Picard was released on January 23rd. I know you probably didn't watch it.
Not yet.
I did. It is definitely a different sort of Star Trek. You can tell Patrick Stewart is quite a bit older. His voice is a little raspier. I almost thought it was engineered, like he was faking it at first, but I don't think he is after watching it twice.
Right, yeah.
I think that's just how he really is talking now, and he's just a little bit more frail and old. There are a couple parts where he actually runs and stuff. I don't know if it's a stunt double or something. You only see him from the back.
This face mapping is getting amazing.
You don't actually see his face in those scenes. It's from the back, so... But it's funny because I told you I watched season 6 and 7 leading up to this, rewatched season 6 and 7 of Next Generation, thinking that would be the premise for the. It's not.
Sure.
No. And in fact, when I watched it, I wasn't.
I heard he's
sure.
like on Earth at his family estate in France.
It's got like a Picard, the Picard Chateau or whatever it's called. Yeah, it's like a wine farm, a vineyard. Sorry, wine farm. A vineyard. My friend Hector mentioned to me afterwards, he said, this is like season 2, episode 9 that this is built off of. And I'm like, what? Season 2? What the hell? So I went back last night and watched season 2, episode 9, and it is absolutely that. That season 2, episode 9 is about if an android is an actual person or if it's property. They're playing off that thing of having like sentient humans,
sure,
or sentient androids rather, that are so close to being human you can't tell the difference.
Right. So where do you draw a line, or where do you place them as far as rights and
It's they're playing right off that, but then there's also these themes thrown in there that I'm not sure if they might be references. You see that. No, I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Okay.
They're salvaging a particular ship, and it's like, holy shit! What ship is that?
Okay.
And then there's another part. There's a dream sequence, and Data is playing cards, and he has 5 queens. Q Continuum was a big part of the Star Trek: The Next Generation thing, and I was like, is that foreshadowing for Q coming up, or is it because there are 5 Borg queens throughout all the movies? Maybe that has more Borg reference. Who knows? I don't want to ruin anything, so I won't say anything else. But that'll be airing on CBS All Access every Thursday. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll do a review on that. Disney.
Yeah, I want to watch it. So we'll.
It's good.
We'll definitely do one.
It's just a different kind of Star Trek. It's not. There's action in it, but it's not super action oriented. It's a lot more. At least on the first episode, there's only been one episode, so
right.
But there's a lot more interaction between the people, and it's a lot more about other concepts. Disney Plus, the Aladdin reboot, Cool Runnings, and as of today, the Lion King reboot are all available on Disney Plus now. So if you read my Lion King review and you haven't seen the movie, you can now go watch it on Disney Plus and see how right I am about the Lion King.
And then please go back to the website, find it. It's one of the first things you did on the website.
I think it's the first review I ever did, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was the first review you ever did because you told me that. I was laughing. but it was like one of the first things we posted on the website. Go back, check that out, and check out how right he is, and check out the subtle humor in the pictures that I picked up on immediately, and I was the first one to pick up on it. I was crying laughing, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you picked up on that." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude." But yeah, check it out. Let us know how much you agree with us.
Yep. Whatifgeeks.com. If you go to, I think it's under posts, and you can search there. You can just search Lion King. You'll find it. All right. So moving from Disney Plus to Netflix, a bunch of old movies are dropping on Netflix this month, or have already dropped, actually. And some of them are worth watching.
They all look amazing.
Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
Okay, that's cool.
Ghost Rider. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, both the first and the second movie, which I don't care that much for the second one, but I really love the first movie.
Super Shredder? Kevin Nash? Diesel? Yeah, come on.
No, dude. It's not.
Razor and Tolga, or whatever the fuck those two other mutants on the... When you had Rocksteady and Bebop, why the fuck didn't you do that?
Yeah.
I don't care what you say about the Michael Bay ones. They were good. These most recent ones, they were good. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
And then Lord of the Rings 2 and 3. I don't know where the fuck Lord of the Rings 1 is, but 2 and 3 are available on Netflix as well. Amazon Prime. Actually, I'm going to do this in duplicate because for whatever reason, I'm guessing it's old licensing right. Star Trek 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and Insurrection are both now available on Amazon Prime and Hulu. And 4 is missing for reasons I don't understand. And then, a few of the newer movies like Genesis and that's are missing now. Generations, not Genesis.
Yeah, Terminator?
Mixing Terminator.
Jesus
Generations, sorry. Generations, and there's a couple other ones that are missing. But for the most part, if you like Star Trek movies and you have Amazon Prime or Hulu, you can watch the vast majority of them now. Conan the Barbarian, the reboot from 2011.
Speaking of Arnie.
Yeah. Well, the reboot from 2011, though.
Never mind.
Is now on Amazon Prime and Hulu if you want to go back and check that out. It actually didn't get terrible reviews, but
I've never seen it.
I haven't seen it yet either. I think
watch it.
Now that it's available, I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah, because I wanted to watch it back in the day, and I forgot about it. It was one of those that got away from me, like many things do.
Well, you can watch it for free now, so you might as well do it. On Amazon Prime, Sherlock Holmes is now available. That's the Robert Downey
movie.
The 2009 one with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. It's almost a tongue twister. Or maybe really something else is causing my tongue to twist.
Could be.
But yeah, I thought that was a really good take on the Sherlock Holmes thing. I love the way they did that movie. And then on Hulu, The Last Boy Scout. You remember that movie? With
I do. Bruce Willis and David Wayans.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah.
It's good.
I was kind of young when it came out, and I thought it looked cool. It's not good. Anyway. But go ahead and check it out. Check it out.
I think that's it. That's all we got.
I guess the only big news thing that we didn't speak about, really, because we were morbid on our other shit, so we decided not to be, would be what happened Sunday. Yeah, Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the other 7 people on the helicopter that nobody seems to know the names of. Tragic, and I guess, that's all we really say about that. Just, I don't know, I'm going to bring it down at the very end of the damn podcast, but really hurt. I mean, dude was an amazing guy, and it really hurts to see that, especially when he's in the second part of his life. He's a few years younger than me, and just
he was 41.
Yeah. So, and to see his kid and
his daughter that was with him was, I think she's 13.
Yeah, so it's bad. It's bad all around. But, of course, the internet just blew up with it. And take the tragedy, learn from it, learn to love your family, I guess. I don't know. It's rough. It's, I saw a lot of people posting shit like, don't forget about the other people on that helicopter. Well, nobody is, okay? But everybody knew who Kobe Bryant was. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even a basketball fan, and I knew who the guy was.
People that say that,
all the arguments are just aggravating.
It's ridiculous, right? Yeah. It's like when your cousin or something. Oh, don't forget about the other 35 people that died that same day. Like, I don't know them.
Right? Yeah,
it's not what it's about.
Yeah, and it's not saying that's not sad.
Yeah,
and the other one I've seen is a lot of people posting something about the service members getting killed overseas and this and that, whatever. And the one I've seen repeatedly on my feed, at least, is a helicopter crash with 30 Marines and a sailor. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's from 15 years ago. The minute I saw the article, I was like, I know what this is. And it's like, well, no, it's like, because it did happen like right around this week, 15 years ago, right? So that's like, some people are like, no, it's just the anniversary of it, so don't forget about it. It's not the same thing, though. The guy just died. I'm like, it's not the same thing. Nobody's trying to make it the same thing. Stop doing it. Some people just threw it out there like it just happened. Like, why isn't this out there? Because it happened 15 years ago. I know because one of my friends, when I was in the Navy, was that one sailor on the fucking helicopter. Yeah. I knew the guy. So it's just, it's fucked up to try to twist it all around. Just
even if it happened last year, and you know, for anybody that doesn't know this at this point, I mean, John and I were both military, right? So we have the utmost respect for other military members. We definitely take it more to heart than probably most of you do. But to say that, you know, you can't acknowledge one without acknowledging every instance that happened, I mean, it's
absurd.
Yeah,
it's completely absurd. Put it in its place, and you know, this is a loss. Accept the loss. Deal with it. Grieve over it. You know. Stop trying to bring everything else into it and make everything an argument. That's my big thing about it. It's like everyone wants to make everything an argument, and it's just like,
it was definitely divisive online culture, which is where we hang out too much.
Apparently,
talking about geek stuff, but
so
luckily most geeks don't watch any.
True, they don't watch basketball. So, we're the ones.
They're like, Kobe who?
Yeah. So Kobe on that note, we'll just leave it as, you know, Kobe Bryant. His family, his daughter, everybody that was on there is tragic, and we're sorry. And you'll be missed. All right, that's it. On that note, on a better note, hit us up. Let us know what you thought of the Geekly Weekly. Whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check out some of the new shit that Eric's done to our website. He's like twisted it all around so the mobile app works a lot better now, and
you can get.
We've added memes now.
Yeah, you can get a news feed on there now. It's like a streaming thing where you can see everything that's going on. And
we're getting bigger, not wider either. Well, I mean, some of us are, but well, technically the stream is if you go this way with it.
Yeah,
it's looking good. So hit us up on those. Let us know what you think. Let us know what else you want to talk about. All right, that's all we got. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Kobe.
Ouch.